Hello, hello. Today I want to go over some frequently asked questions for Goimagine. I've been seeing a lot of questions in the Goimagine official Facebook group, and it's a lot of repeat questions, a lot of similar things that people have been asking, and not just recently, but over the years. It seems to be a lot of the same questions. So I wanted to make one video. This is definitely something that would be more beneficial to folks who are new to Goimagine. You probably know most of this if you've had a Goimagine shop for a little while, but it's still good to, be aware of these things in case somebody asks you and, you haven't really thought about it recently or something like that. It's good to know about it. So, the first question I wanted to talk about was something like, I applied for Goimagine, what's next? This is a little bit vague because there's a couple things that we could be asking here, but I wanted to put this in one kind of general question and cover a couple of different things. First question that kind of goes under this is, how long does it take before I will get notified that I'm approved to sell on Goimagine? One thing to keep in mind is that Goimagine doesn't have a huge staff of people, and they don't use bots to do most of their tasks. So you're not going to get a response on the weekend necessarily. There might be some exceptions to that rule, but in general, that's not likely. So if you apply on the weekend or if you apply on a Friday, you might not hear back until the following week. They've stated that it takes about 2 days to get approved, but you could get approved in 6 hours, you could get approved in 4 days. So just because you haven't seen anything yet, don't panic and think you're not approved. Unless you're doing something and indicating somewhere on your application that you're going to do something that is completely against Goimagine's rules, they're going to approve you. Now, keep in mind that you want to be honest on what you're presenting of your shop, because if you start a shop and then you post things that are completely different than what you put on your application, and those things happen to be against the terms of service for Goimagine, then you're going to get your shop, removed, or you'll probably get warnings first and everything. I don't think Goimagine's just going to shut down your shop by any means, but they're gonna be reaching out to you about that if you have something that's not following the policies. So you want to be truthful on your application and present what you plan to do. Now, of course, things can change, and you might be planning to have a jewelry shop, and then you injure your hand and you can't do jewelry anymore, but you want to do something else that you can do, without the use of those very fine motor skills or something like that. And you can change things, but you need to make sure that you are within the rules of Goimagine and that you're not selling things that are not allowed on there. Most importantly, you have to sell handmade goods. So don't be, buying a bulk supply of home decor items from Temu and then reselling them on Goimagine. That does not fly on Goimagine. That's the number one. So yeah, that's basically that part of it. And then also, a lot of folks miss some of the emails that come from Goimagine. I believe it is 2 separate emails that you get. One email you get tells you that you're approved, but another email you get has the welcome packet in it, basically, that goes over a checklist of things that new sellers need to do. And this is really important because what tends to happen for Goimagine is folks sign up for it and then they don't realize they need to change their password to log in, and they can't figure out how to get logged in because they're not seeing the emails. They're probably in the junk or the spam folder, so you got to look there, and then they're getting frustrated right off the bat, right after they signed up. Now, another issue that can come into play is you don't do the checklist, and you reset your password, and you're able to get into your Goimagine shop, and you're in the back end in the dashboard, and you just start adding products. And those products are not going to be not going to be able to show up if you haven't set up your shop properly first. So you really want to get that checklist and you want to go through it. If for some reason you can't find that checklist in an email, that's also available on the Seller Help Center at Goimagine. So if you just go to goimagine.com and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there is a link for something along the lines of Seller Help Center. I do have videos about this as well in my YouTube channel here. So if you haven't watched all my videos, that's another thing that I wanted to bring up. If you haven't watched all my videos, you're missing out on a lot of great information, and you know, it might be a little bit faster to do that than it would be to you know, put a question out in the Facebook group and wait for an answer. It just depends. You know, sometimes you put a question in there and you get an answer immediately, and other times you might get an answer that's incorrect at first, because sometimes people like to guess and throw out an answer that's not quite right, you know, so you just want to be careful about that. But overall, if you put a question in the official Goimagine group, Goimagine Official Makers Group, I believe is the exact term, you generally will get a full good answer from somebody who works for Goimagine within, you know, 24 to 48 hours. If you don't, you know, you could definitely tag an admin or something and ask, but it's very unlikely that that's going to go ignored, unless maybe your question isn't really a question and it's more of a statement or something along those lines. But if you have a productive question, you know, you're likely to get an answer fairly quickly in the Goimagine group. But sometimes, you know, things get lost and buried, and then some random person who just signed up for Goimagine a week prior to you might decide to try to answer that question because they feel bad. They see that nobody's answered your question or something, and then you might get a wrong answer, and that's where it's going to get really confusing. So you just want to be careful and, you know, don't expect an immediate answer, basically, to questions on the Facebook groups. But definitely check out all of my videos. I do have a lot of videos separated into a Goimagine help section, and they're pretty clearly identified by the title and by the picture, you know, the little graphic that goes along with the YouTube video to let you know what the video is about. And they're pretty true to that. Now, if a video is a little too long for you, you do have the ability in YouTube, up in the right-hand corner, I believe it is, there's a little settings button that looks like a little gear, and if you click that, you are able to speed up videos by the playback speed, and so that may help you if the video seems too long and you, you know, don't want to sit through the entire thing. If I'm kind of talking slowly or something, sometimes I talk slow and sometimes I talk fast, I feel. So I'm trying to get a good even speed to my speaking when I'm showing you guys things. But anyways, kind of going off on a side tangent there, but yeah, that's what's most important with applying for Goimagine is be patient, especially if it's over a weekend or a holiday. You know, don't expect to just get an email immediately telling you that you're approved, and also make sure you are looking for at least 2 or 3 emails from Goimagine that cover everything. It's not going to be all in one email from what I understand and from what I remember. So you want to look for an email that says you need to reset your password, and you have to click that link, I believe, to go to that specific page to reset your password. And then you also are going to be looking for the email with the checklist, the new shop checklist. And it's really important that you go through and set up your Stripe payments, you know, shipping. There's certain things that you need to set up in settings before you start putting products in there. And I mean, that's important anyway. You know, there was recently, John Lincoln talked about this in one of his live videos that he does over on Maker Circle. Make sure to check out Maker Circle and, you know, check out his videos. There's a replay of them, but he goes live, I believe it's on Wednesdays, or was it Thursdays, for an hour almost every single week, and it's called Office Hours, and you know, it's kind of a free forum for people to ask questions. Sometimes he'll go into a specific subject. It can be really helpful for new folks because you can ask a question there and then you can actually hear it straight from the horse's mouth, and he'll go in and show you exactly what you need to know. So I think that would really help a lot of new folks out. But here's the thing, when you when you start out, you got to think about it just like if you were opening a new business. If you were opening a clothing store, down in your little downtown area of wherever you live, you wouldn't just go in there and put a bunch of products in there before you had your register set up and your credit card machine set up and your displays, figured out, your banner or some kind of sign, your hours decided on, all of those details. So you want to do those details first, and then you go back in and start adding products. So that's really important to keep in mind when setting up for Goimagine. That's all I can think of for that to start with, but I might think of something else and add that in a minute here. Next question, how long does Goimagine hold payments? I've seen this recently. I think people are concerned about it because Etsy can hold payments for 60 or some odd days. And they might hold part of your payment. They might hold all of your payment. One thing you need to realize about Goimagine, and it's hard because if you've been dealing with Etsy for a long time, you're going to just kind of assume certain things are the same, but they're definitely not. Goimagine doesn't process your payments. Stripe processes your payments, and or PayPal. Stripe is required to be connected to all accounts, and then PayPal is an additional option that you have that you don't have to do. So that's one of the first steps when you first start your shop, is to set up your Stripe and get that connected to your Goimagine shop. And Stripe is, separate from Goimagine. They're just a facilitator for our payments. And you want to become familiar with the Stripe and how everything works there, because they're also where you're going to see the fees taken out of your your sales when you make sales, and everything else. A lot is going to go through Stripe. So you want to be aware of it and be familiar with it. Don't just set it up real quick and forget about it. You want to make sure you save that password to Stripe, and that you bookmark that page, and you're going to be ready to be prepared to go back there at one point, because you're going to need to at one point or another. But that being said, this particular question for Stripe, the first payment that you get from a customer through Stripe is going to take a little while, but it's just the first payment. It could take up to 10 days for that payment to go through. So it's really important that you have the money to ship the item, and or money to buy the supplies to make the item, depending on if your items are ready made or not, for at least your first sale. We're running businesses here, and I understand some folks are doing this more for a hobby and it's more for fun, but just you keep in mind, you've got to have a little bit more of a business mindset to it, and you can't go and have somebody place an order with you and then hold their order until you get the money. They've paid the money. You got to look at it from their point of view, and now they want you to ship the item within the amount of time that you said you would ship the item. So that's not on them, and you just need to be fully aware of that. Now, after that first one goes through and everything goes through fine with that, then in the future, Stripe takes an average of 1 to 2 days. It depends on your bank. It's not up to Stripe at that point. They process it right away, basically. But I have a Wells Fargo account, for example, and I have a Boeing Employees Credit Union account, BECU, which is, not as common. You may or may not have even known it exists, but it exists here in Washington. It's very popular. But BECU, they give me my paycheck from the job that I work, my 9-to-5 job. They give me my paycheck on Friday every week, but my Wells Fargo account gives me my paycheck on Wednesday night. That money's already showing in there, because my company releases those funds on Wednesday night, but it's up to the bank to decide when they're going to show those funds available in your account. And every bank is going to be different on how they process that. And it's the same thing with taking payments in from something like Stripe. And then PayPal, I honestly can't remember, but I think PayPal's pretty quick, and I don't think they normally hold funds. It might depend on if you've had a PayPal account for a while, or if you've opened up a brand new PayPal account just for your Goimagine shop. I've had a PayPal account for years. I've sold on eBay before and things. So my PayPal payments come through right away whenever I receive a payment through PayPal. So hopefully that answers that question pretty fully for folks who are wondering. And then the next question I get is, how do I get featured on the Goimagine homepage? And how do I get featured with Goimagine through their social media accounts? Goimagine's featuring people all the time, and sometimes it's hard not to feel left out if you are not, one of the lucky ones. Keep in mind that there are a lot of products listed on Goimagine, and there are a lot of sellers on Goimagine. I believe the latest number is 8,000 sellers. Now on Etsy, there's millions of sellers, and to get featured on Etsy is virtually impossible. It's just, you just never know. You could have the best photographs, the best product ever, and never get featured on there. But it doesn't hurt to try, kind of thing. And it's similar with Goimagine. There's a lot less sellers, but it's still a lot of competition. And you've got to understand that they have, excuse me, got a little hiccup there. They have to have the highest quality photos for them to feature your items. So if your photos aren't quite up to snuff, they're not going to choose you. And it's not just that. You could have the best photos ever, but if you just don't happen to fit within the themes, if they just don't happen to see your items, it's just not going to happen. So all you can do is make sure you have the best photos, you have everything filled out on your shop, you have, a nice, concise title, because they ask us to, Goimagine and Google asks us to have short, concise titles. If you have a keyword stuff title, you might get passed up. That's just a guess. That's not me having any confirmation of that. But in general, if you want to be featured somewhere, you want to follow the best practices of the company that you're working with. And we're working with Goimagine, and there are a few people within Goimagine that make these decisions and choose these items. And, they're likely going to want to choose items when they can that match up with what they've requested for us to do. It just only makes sense. And you gotta think their reasoning for picking any particular thing is because they hope this increases sales. So when somebody comes to the Goimagine homepage, they want to have things on that main page that are going to increase sales. Whether that means somebody's clicking on that item and buying it, or whether it's going to keep people more interested in Goimagine. And so they're going to stay on the site longer and look for products and spend more time on the Goimagine site. So why would someone stay there longer if they didn't see anything on that main page that they were looking for? Well, it would be if the items look unique and they're clearly handmade, and it emotionally connects with them in some way. So part of this is luck, and part of this is skill, and having those polished photos and having unique products that people are looking for. They don't want the same old. They want something different. They want something that's going to catch someone's eye, something that's, going to have that uniqueness to it. So it's hard. I've been in Goimagine for years, and it's been a while since anything of mine has been featured. But you just got to keep trying, and don't just get disheartened by it at all, because it's nothing personal. I recently joined the Makers Challenge for the I think it was Grind Up is what they called it. It was the coffee related one. And, I looked through all of the people who entered into that, all of the products that were entered into that contest. And there are some really amazing products and photos and everything else. And I can't be mad at all that my product didn't get chosen, even if I want to. I can't. I just look at all these and I'm like, these are really nice, and how do they choose? It's very hard. They got to choose the finalists, and then the finalists get voted on, and I wasn't a finalist, and I had to just get over that. And that's just how it is. But joining those maker challenges is a huge way to get your product in front of the people who are making those decisions, because they have to look through every single one of those products to decide which ones are going to be the final 6. And so they're going to see your shop. And even if that product doesn't fit their, fit what they want to put up there for the top 6, doesn't mean that your shop isn't going to catch their eye. And they're going to be like, oh, I want to remember that shop for next time, because I really like some of the things they have there. And, I'm planning on, doing a set of fall related whatever, and I think this would go good with that theme, or whatever it happens to be. So you just want to just get your stuff out there as much as you can. Really be mindful of the photography. If you really are struggling with the photography, that is one area that I would say would be worth it to potentially spend money to get better photographs, whether that is hiring a photographer to take photos of some of your products, or if it's taking a class or something to help you become better at photography, buying some kind of light box, they've got the diffuser boxes that you can take outside, and it helps so it's not such harsh light on your product. It diffuses the light through, and you can take that outdoors with you or something. I live in Washington State right now. It's very rainy and gloomy a lot of days, so I don't have the luxury of going outside and taking photos all the time. But when it's nicer outside and the conditions are perfect, I'm like, oh, I want to take some more photos of this item that I posted 3 weeks ago because the lighting is good now, or whatever. So you got to take advantage of the opportunities that you have if you don't live in a sunny state. So just like, we want to go on hikes or do outdoor activities, like, oh, we should go to the zoo. It's nice this weekend. It's not going to be nice for another month. It's kind of the same thing with taking photographs of your products, in my opinion, but that's just me. Anyways, so that's kind of what I have there. I do have a video specifically about trying to get featured on Goimagine and trying to, really work the social media angle and everything else on Goimagine. So make sure you check out the rest of my videos for that information as well. Okay, another question. Does Goimagine drive traffic to my shop? Do they ever advertise? Yes, they do. But really, to be successful, you got to do some of that yourself as well. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So if you just post your items up and leave them sitting there, you could still get sales. Yes, without any advertising, without posting anything on social media, without any, way of sending customers to Goimagine, you can make sales. But if you really want to jumpstart that and get the process going and, make sure you're really taking full advantage of getting as many people's eyes on your products as you can, then you really do need to, advertise on social media. And I do have some videos about this, and I have one about Pinterest and everything else. I really like Pinterest. It's one that I like, but keep in mind that when you post something on Pinterest, sometimes it takes a long time for it to build up. There's certain types of products that do a lot better on Pinterest than others. And if you are constantly changing out your products, like you just have one-of-a-kind products and then it sells out and then you make something completely different, then, Pinterest might not be the best for you because they go more for a long-term type thing. So if you have 5 of the same product, and so it's going to be available for a year, basically before you sell out of that and have to do something different, for just a random example, then Pinterest could be a really good place for you. But check out those videos, don't be shy checking that out. And, I have I think I have 5 videos. I think it's actually a, what's it called? Playlist. I believe it's a playlist that's specifically about promoting your Goimagine shop. And there's one about promoting in the groups, in Facebook groups and things like that. And then there's one specifically about Pinterest, and there's at least 2 or 3 more. So check those out because that can be very helpful to you. But yes, Goimagine does advertise. I don't have any dollar figures. I haven't heard any recently, but I know that they do advertise. I'm sure that, like me, most of you wish they would advertise more. Obviously it takes money to advertise, and they're trying to spend money on the technical side of things to get Goimagine, really technically working well for the sellers, easy to list your items, and everything, because for some reason, no matter how many updates they do and how much they improve, it just seems like people aren't satisfied with that. I'm perfectly satisfied with that. I don't think that Goimagine needs a ton of upgrades on their technical stuff. I think, setting up listings is pretty smooth, and it's really, there's very few things that I would wish for, but everybody's different and everybody kind of has their own ideas. And of course, they've got to continue to grow. You know, that's just how businesses run. So they're going to continue to grow there. But I would rather them spend more money on advertising, honestly, because I want to get more shoppers aware of Goimagine. A lot of people don't know about Goimagine yet. And a lot of people are not happy with Etsy, and they have a lot of negative news stories out. They're getting a lot of bad publicity and everything. And I think this is a really great time for people to learn about Goimagine, and for folks who really truly want handmade stuff and they don't just want some cheap thing they're going to get in one day off Amazon, or, some like thing that's going to fall apart in a week or whatever, that Goimagine is a really great place for you to find really high quality, handmade goods that are truly made in America, made by hand. But that's just me. So yeah, that's basically my answer to that question. And then the last question I have on here is, how do I know if visitors are coming to my Goimagine store? I see this a lot. There is an analytics page available, but it's kind of in a weird place. And I've made videos specifically about Goimagine analytics, and that's what it is. It's showing you where to find who's been to your store and where they came from, basically, is what that involves. And so that is on the new dashboard, Goimagine, dashboard.goimagine.com. I totally forgot. And so basically, if you go there and then you go to settings, there's just a section for analytics. All right, here's what I was looking for. dashboard.goimagine.com, and then you go to shop settings, and then there's analytics down here, and that is where it'll show you how many views, visits, and whatnot you've had. And then you can change these dates to whichever time frame you want to change them to. And sometimes it takes a minute, but it will show you several different analytics in here. And I have a whole video that goes into this in detail. Sometimes this takes a minute for it to load, but it'll go into detail for you on where people came from and what category the products were in that they looked at in your shop. It's not super detailed. It's one thing that I would like to see Goimagine update soon, and they have been saying they're working on it, but just keep that in mind. It's not super detailed, but there is some information there for you, and I do have a video that breaks down very specifically those analytics, what those different categories mean and all of that. So please make sure to check that out. But yeah, that's the last question that I had on here. I want to hear your questions. What's a question that we have, maybe a more advanced question that somebody has about Goimagine that I can make a video on? One thing I wanted to check, and I can't remember that I've seen recently, is like, I got a sale. What do I do next? And I don't know that I've made a video on that, and now I need to wait until I get a sale to make a new video on that. And it's hard because I don't want anybody to see my customers' information or anything, but I want to try to make a video on that if I haven't already. I'm going to go back and check and see if I made one. But if I haven't already, I want to go back and check on that, because that would be a good one to have for folks, because it's a little different, especially once again, if you are an Etsy seller and you've been selling on Etsy. It's completely different. Etsy, everything is integrated right into that main page, and if you do Etsy shipping labels, it's all one and done, and it's just pushing a couple buttons, then the label prints, and then you package it, and the customer gets a message saying it's been shipped, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, Goimagine's not that hard at all, but you got to do it separately. You got to go to Pirate Ship is what I use and what a lot of customers use. And then if you just go over there, you print the label there, just like you would print a label if you were shipping a package to your grandma. I know a lot of people don't necessarily ship things, but it's super easy. I used to do that with eBay before eBay had integrated shipping labels and stuff. So I have a lot of practice with going to websites. I used to just go to USPS.com or whatever. And, you just you need to know the weight of the item, which you need to know no matter what. Anyway, the other option would be go straight to the post office with your package and then weigh it at the post office. But what you just need to do, wherever you get that tracking number, whether it's from from a pirate ship or whether it's from the post office or wherever you get it from, and then you just got to go back into Goimagine and you need to mark that order as complete and shipped, and then it asks you to put the shipping information and the tracking number, and you put that all in there, and then you know, there might be a checkbox somewhere to say to send it to the customer or whatever. It's pretty straightforward though. It's not too confusing or anything, and then you just do that, and then, you know, you just ship off the item, and that's it. It's really easy, and you can message customers if you have questions, or, you know, if there's something going on and it's going to be delayed, or yeah, I don't want to show any information because when I click on orders, it shows the customer's full name and stuff, and I don't want to get too far into it. But yeah, it's just basically dashboard, and then there's the button right there for orders. And then once you get to the list of the orders, then you click on the order ID. It's like a different color than the rest of it. It's like this blue color that you see for links, you know, on here. And then that's the link that takes you to the order specifically. And then it's pretty simple just to enter in the tracking information where you need to, and check which boxes you need to, and boom, you know. And then also on this main dashboard page, if you scroll down, you can also search at orders for here. I don't have any orders since October 1st, so it says 0, but if I did, it would be here as well, and I could do it straight from here. So we're definitely not trying to hide the order information from folks, but for some reason everybody kind of freezes up when they get an order. They're like, what do I do? So yeah, it's just you can't create the shipping label from Goimagine. There's nowhere to do that. That's not something that Goimagine has. Eventually they will have something like that, or something integrated where it'll be really easy. There might be something integrated with Shippo or something, but I just don't like Shippo. I think I tried that once and didn't like it. So I'm sticking with Pirate Ship. That's what I'm doing. But yeah, it's fairly straightforward. But yeah, that was basically the last question that I had here. But yeah, I want to hear your questions. Definitely drop them in the comments, and you know, I can make another video if there's some questions that I have not answered already. But please check out the other videos that I have and see if that answers any of your questions as well, because I do have quite a few of them on here, and I'll try to link some of them in the description of this video. So if you see, we're kind of right below the video, there's this little description of this video, and then it says more, and if you click that, it'll open up a big long paragraph, and there will be links within there, and I can put some links to some of these videos in there for y'all, and hopefully that is helpful if that was one of your questions that you've had or wanted more information about. So thanks so much for joining me. Sorry I haven't been on here too much. My last video I mentioned that I got really sick and you know, had not been well, but I am doing much better now. I went to the doctor, got a bunch of blood tests, everything came out good. They don't have any major concerns about me right now, so that is good. And it's, yeah, we're getting close to the busy season here, being the end of October, so just gearing up to start getting busy. And yeah, I need to make a video about that, actually, about getting ready for this busy holiday season and what do we all need to do about that. So that'll probably be my next video. But hope everyone's having a great day. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and make sure to like this if you found it helpful or interesting or informative in any way. Thank you.